Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Sunday Orchid chat today is on Monday, and the other couple of times where that's actually happened, I don't get anywhere near the number of views by doing it on Monday. It's the same video, I just think the Sunday chat on Sunday has taken hold, and it's a video that a lot of people seem to look forward to, and it's one that I don't like missing. You know, it's what I actually enjoy doing, mainly because it's easy for me. You know, I just stand here and waffle on, and it's what people seem to like. I do wonder sometimes. Anyway, first of all, thanks to all the people who support the channel in whatever way you do. That's the memberships for financial support, the patrons again for financial support. This is good stuff. The odd buy me a coffee for perhaps a specific video that helped you out in some way. That's what that's supposed to be for. It's like leaving a tip at a restaurant if you've had a nice meal or something. That's what the buy me a coffee is supposed to be for, just a one-off thank you type thing. And just watching the videos, hitting the old thumbs up, subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. What do you mean you're not subscribed? Come on! On with it. It all helps the channel progress. Now on that subject I'm going to diversify a bit. Some time ago, not a ridiculous time ago, but some time ago I started a new channel for my bonsai. The reason being I wanted to film what I was doing with the bonsai, and some of the orchid devotees started to get a bit niggly. You know, we come here for the orchids, not little trees in pots. So I started a new channel, and obviously to earn any money on a YouTube channel you have to reach a certain stage. Now YouTube, I believe, is in a bit of trouble. It's not doing as well as perhaps it thought it might be by now, and again, as a company it has to progress, it has to be seen to grow, it's got shareholders and all that sort of stuff. And during the pandemic and the lockdowns and everything, there was a massive surge in new channels. Most of those have died out because those people that were locked down and had nothing else to do have now gone back to work or back to their normal lives, and their channels have fizzled out. So first of all, they've introduced a new rule that if they, well, it's a Google thing really, if an account hasn't been touched for 2 years, it will get deleted. So that means it's not been logged in, it's not been used for any purpose. And you have to bear in mind that's a Google account. There's always an account behind a YouTube channel. Yeah, so the channel would go as well. So there's that going on. But YouTube have always had this, you must have 1,000 subscribers, they changed this a long time ago, and 4,000 watch hours. That's what I had to do for the bonsai channel. One of the recent communications, they've halved it. So instead of 1,000 subscribers, it's now 500. Instead of 4,000 watch hours, it's now 2,000. They're trying to get more people to start channels and become monetized. Why? Because that's where the advertisements are placed and YouTube make the money. Yeah? So the fact that it sounds to me like they're getting desperate. Not desperate, but you know what I mean. So yes, it's going to become easier. Talking to Hannah over the weekend, she has the more I think about it, the more I think it's a brilliant idea, but she tends to do that, have brilliant ideas, for a YouTube channel that she can do. Now, I'm not going to go into any detail because it's not even off the ground, it's nothing more than a light bulb idea at the moment, but it does sound interesting. So we shall see whether that progresses. But if at some time in the future her channel gets off the ground, I will expect you all to go and subscribe, the same as you did for my bonsai channel. I will find you. So no, but seriously, if that channel gets off the ground, there will be an objective behind it as an earner in the background to what is very hard work for not too much money, quite honestly. But that could be quite a way down the line. It's only an idea at the moment. The practicalities of it have got to be looked into. Like the type of videos she would plan on making would be quite heavy on editing, very heavy on research, and coordinating research together from various places. So sounds quite good. We shall see. That's to come. But as I said, I may enlist your help to get it up and running, get it off the ground. Because it did well for my bonsai channel, and those that helped out, thanks. Those that are still helping out on the bonsai channel, again, thanks. You know, some people went over and subscribed and did what I'd asked with no intention of showing any interest. Some people have become bonsai people as a consequence, and they've got some trees, you know. You never know what you're going to like unless you try it, so they say. Right, so that's that, channels and stuff. Thank you's done. Saturday was a washout. Saturday this weekend it rained, then it rained, and then it thawed for a bit, and then it rained some more. So it rained basically, and everything got soaking wet, as it does in the rain. So when we got up Sunday morning with the intention of going out in the garden, it was dripping. Everything was absolutely soaking wet. I said, give it a while, the sun will come up hopefully and it will dry off a bit. So we're not in a desperate rush. So we waited. A gentle breeze got up, that helped sort of rattle the drips off of the leaves and things, and then the sun did come out. And we got out and we did what I wanted done on Sunday yesterday. And it was basically the left-hand side. So the wisteria has been cut back, the laurels have been done, it's been tidied. And then I had a go at a bit of the bamboo that's behind the maple tree. It's quite astounding what comes down to be tidied up when you start on the bamboo. And I said to Hannah, this is too much foliage to be bagged up to go to the recycling centre. We've got to think of another way. And we came up with taking the taking the bamboo down in like 3 separate sections and making bundles of it, tying it round with string or something so that it could be lifted up like a bundle of straw, you know, a stack of straw, that sort of thing. So that sounded like a good idea. But it still involved taking the top of the bamboo off with the chainsaw when it arrives. Some people have shown concerns about me standing on top of some wobbly steps with a chainsaw in my hand. Sounds like something out of a movie, doesn't it? Seem to remember that. Anyway, it also sounds a bit iffy for me, but I couldn't think of any other way to do it. Hannah comes up with bright ideas. I do occasionally, but not so often. But my viewers come up with bright ideas sometimes, and this one is a corker. Think about this then. The problem with the bamboo is its height, and to get up to the top to cut it in any shape or form with any tool requires top of the steps, which means I have to have somebody on the bottom of the steps. Then follow the theory through to cutting it into shorter lengths and tying it up into bundles. Now what about the idea of creating a bundle at ground level? In other words, put some rope round a section of the bamboo, tie it into a bundle, come up a bit higher and do it again and tie it into a bundle and cut it off at ground level. So that the whole section falls over already tied into a bundle and doesn't go all over the place. That is a brilliant idea. No steps, nothing, because it then falls on the ground, all strapped together in a bundle. And then run the chainsaw above the top rope, yeah, having first tied 2 more. So effectively, make it a bundle, cut it off at ground level, get it down, you know, into a manageable area, tie the rest of it up in bundles, and then separate the bundles with the chainsaw. lift them up, chuck them in the back of the car, round to the tip. Is that a good idea? No steps. And do you know the other beauty of it? I can do it on my own. Which means I can do it a bit at a time and not get cream crackered like I am today. I said I ran Hannah home yesterday, got back to her place. She's up 2 flights of stairs, which is great. Those flats that she's in, there's a housing association, so they're managed flats basically, and they are for people on low incomes, single mums with a couple of kiddies or whatever, and disabled people. Well, when Hannah moved in there, she was quite disabled because she hadn't had her final heart surgery. So they put the one with breathing troubles and serious circulation troubles because of a serious heart issue on their 2nd floor. Duh. But she loves it up there because her window overlooks a park, you know, with big mature trees and grass and flower beds. Lovely view out of her window. Well, you wouldn't get that on the ground floor. So yeah, so anyway, when we got back to her place and to take some stuff up to her place, I suddenly thought, do you know, I'm aching all over. Well, I then had to drive back. Driving's not a problem when you're all achy because you sat down. However, we do have a problem in the car. On the driver's door arm is a control centre. Now, it's got a left and a right for the wing mirrors with a little joystick. That's to adjust the wing mirrors. And if you press both buttons at once, it pulls them in or puts them back out again. And then there's also a switch for the windows on all 4 doors. So there's 4 switches to open or shut the 4 windows. Then there's an auto lock for the door. There's also an auto lock for all of the doors, and all of that's on a control thing, and the whole lot's dead. Sounds like a fuse to me, but I may well just take the car round to the guy who does my work and say, this has all stopped working, can you have a look? And if it's a fuse, he'll do it for me. You probably won't even accept any money. I could have a go myself, but you know, that's to be done. I probably don't even need the car this week, so there's no rush to do that, but it was really weird because I pressed the buttons for the wing mirrors and one went and one didn't, and then they just stopped. So I had one in and one out at the time. We had to pull over in a lay-by so that I could get out and put the wing mirror back where it goes, and then I couldn't operate any of the windows. But it's not, you know, Hannah has a control for her window on her seat and that worked fine. Everything else works fine, it's just that control centre on the door. And she looked it up while we were going along. I said, the manual's in there, have a look at what the fuses do. And there is a heavy duty fuse for the driver's door. So everything to do with the driver's door is on one fuse. So that might explain why nothing works on the driver's door. Sounds like a fuse, doesn't it? It does to me. And out of all the fuses in the car, there's lots of little ones. There's only 4 20-amp fuses, and one of them's the driver's door, because the wing mirrors, which it controls, are got heaters in them. So there's obviously a heating element on that fuse as well. That's not working. Nothing's working on the driver's door. So I got that as a problem to sort out. But yeah, when I got home, it was 9 o'clock. I thought, I'm going to just sit down for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I'm just going to go to bed. I am so tired and starting to get a bit achy, you know. Anyway, I got up this morning, the aches and pains have generalised. In other words, nearly everything is an ache and a pain, so nothing specific, just general purpose, everything, you know. Been used that hasn't been used for a while, so it aches. It's no big deal though. And the back is okay. The bit that I worry about all the time, yet again, is okay. Perhaps it's getting stronger, I don't know. Anyway, so work on the garden this week will be minimal, and I think it will be limited to the bales of the mulch for this bit over here, you know, where we've got all the plantings done. I've still got those 2 bales in the car, and until they're out, I can't take anything around the recycling centre. So we've got another load of bags out here now from what we did yesterday. How many have we got out here? 2, 4, 6. There's 8 bags out there of what we cleared yesterday. Plus in the carport there's 2 bags and the load of bamboo that I cut down from round the front. So there's quite a bit to go up the recycling centre, and to do that I need the bales out of the boot and the seats down so that I can get everything in there. So we won't be doing the bamboo this week. We will probably just do that in the garden. We're in for one of those weeks where it's going to rain, then it'll be a bit of sunshine, then perhaps some heavy rain, and you know, weather's just going to come and go. Changeable, I think they call it. I just call it English weather because that's what we expect. Right, so that's sort of news and stuff, what's going on, and hopefully I've alleviated some worries of me waggling about on the top of a stepladder with a chainsaw in my hand. Because somebody's come up with a bright idea, which not only means it'll be a lot safer to do, but I may be able to do it on my own. It might be nicer to do with some help, but Hannah's not coming down now until the end of August, about 5 weeks, something like that, so it's quite a long time till she's down again. And part of that visit will be to help make sure everything's okay for my next house inspection, which is the beginning of September. It's the rent's due at the end of August, boo-hoo. Down goes my bank account. But yeah, so she should be, you know, so any bits around the house that involve a lot of bending or anything like that, she'll help out with. And one job that's going to have to be done, let me take the camera off, because you don't see it, it's masked. Seasick time, of course. While I just get it off and get it on my hand. I'll do it slowly so you don't get waggled about too much. The mould's coming back on the plastic. Now if you remember a long time ago I had to clean the whole place out. I got a mix of Fisan 20 and some cloths and did the whole lot. Well, it's going to have to be done again. I can't have the house inspector coming in when it's like this. Now it's not a difficult job, and it does involve arching over to wipe the plastic on the roof, but if you look at how much there is, it's a very small job. And quite honestly, last time I did it all standing on a chair, you know. It's got a nice firm base here. But yeah, it needs wiping over with, if I use the Fisan 20 again, it leaves a residual on the surfaces, and it lasted a hell of a long time. So a long time ago I did that, and it's only just, I believe, come back. And it needs sorting. And also before they come, I need to do the glass. Inside and out. I need to get the glass clean to make it look sort of spick and span, because the last thing I want is for them to say your plants are causing structural damage to the building, you're going to have to get rid of them. Yeah, we don't want to go down that road. So this conservatory needs to look spick and span, so that, you know, okay, you're growing orchids and everything, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't affect the building. So Hannah will be helping out with getting the place ready for the next inspection and get that over and done with. Events on my calendar. There's nothing. There's one event in August, and that's the garden party, the Orchid Society garden party, which is, I think that's the second Saturday in August. And then there isn't anything else until Hannah comes down at the end of August. And I think there's only 2 events in September, which is the Bournemouth Orchid Society show, and Wessex will have a meeting. So I've got a couple of months now with very, very little going on, which means I should be able to keep up with all my chores and things. So anyway, one new bloom, or nearly a new bloom, the Shelob Tolkien is opening. I'd forgotten about the gorgeous patterning on that. It's not open properly yet, and it is only the first bud. And we've got 4 spikes on here, and they'll be staggered. Obviously these buds are most advanced, then probably these, then that one, and then that one. So it's going to be in bloom a long time. It's a bit like the Shari Baby that's got 4 spikes. This second spike will be opening soon, and then the third one, then the fourth one. So nice staggered blooming sort of thing. There's not much else going. Well, there sort of is in the background. I mean, this spike's coming on now. Not many buds, but you know, that's a nice splash of deep red, I believe that is. 2 of the Miltonias up there have got spikes. One Miltonia, which is Summer Glory, which you won't be able to see. It's that pair of pots. It's the second one, and the spike is right at the back, pointing towards the glass. And then that Oncidium on the end, which is Sweet Bee or something, I think it's called, that's got a spike pushing up, which you might be able to see as well. So there's a couple of spikes there. This Catatanti just refuses to bloom. Mind you, if it does, it won't be able to stay there. It might not even be able to go on this shelf, because the spikes can be over 1 metre long. It might have to come over here so that it's got some roof space above it. It might even have to go on the floor, who knows. But yeah, over here there's nothing new. There's nothing coming into bloom. All we've got over here is the 2 Masdevallias that are out at the moment. And nothing much else at all going on over here. We've still got the Infundibulum up there that, you know, it just keeps getting forgotten because it's up near the roof. I mean, these blooms last absolutely ages, and they are stunning blooms. That deep gold colour in the middle, almost orange, it's the deepest yellow. It's good stuff. But yeah, not much else coming on. Quite a few of the dendrobiums that have had to be dealt with because they were going downhill at a colossal rate have started to pick up. This is the what is this one? Harveyanum. The new shoots are now progressing, and this one up here, you can see the new growths in the pot. That one's starting to take off as well. This one's starting to grow from the base. So that's 3, and my Hercoglossum up here. That'll be finishing its blooms soon, which is a shame. I always look forward to these blooms. But that's got some nice new growths pushing up now. So we've managed to save some of them. The Lindleyi, where did I put that? Oh, that's up in here. This is not responding very well, but then it hasn't been in this pot long. But there are, if you look at the base, you can see at least 3 new growths there. And 1 new growth has already matured, you know, and put out a leaf. Although I can see 4. So it is starting to grow, but it's in a hell of a state. It's nothing like the plant it once was. But it's not lost. This is the thing. These plants were going downhill at such a rate, I thought they were goners. And we've managed to just rescue them enough to start them growing again and keep them alive. So these are good, because some of those would be difficult to get hold of again now. You know, following Brexit and losing access to the European suppliers, even the private sellers, you know, it's all gone. We can't get at it. And there's so few people selling in the UK now. I mean, you've got Burnham's, which has always been, you know, there's that. There is a couple of small suppliers. I mean, there's Trey, who I know quite well, who imports, but he tends to go for quite unusual and rare species, and they're often quite young plants when they come in, and he's not open to the public, but he does come to a few shows and bring his stuff along. So, he was at Malvern, and he didn't seem to have an awful lot, you know, given that he had a stand at Malvern. But maybe that was because his last import had sold already. You know, these things happen. But yeah, and then there's Spiceotic, of course. That seems to get bigger and stronger all the time, which is good, Because quite honestly, that is the only other nursery alongside Burnham's that has the variety of plants. The only problem is that doesn't open to the public either. Now, I could go and visit by arrangement. That would be a good video, wouldn't it? It'd be a bit rare and unique sort of stuff, wouldn't it? But it's a hell of a journey. It'd probably take me 3.5 hours to get there. And it's not a nice journey either. It involves going round the London Orbital and all that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't enjoy it until I got there, and I'd have to leave at the crack of dawn. So that's probably not going to happen. But yeah, we're limited really. The only big nursery with a variety is Burnham's. There's nothing else left now. They are it. And then most of the other nurseries are either specialists or have specialised. You know, like there's one guy does paths and frags and very little else, because that's what he specialised in. There's one does hardy orchids, because that's what he specialises in. You know, but there's very little left. We're stuck with it. So this Brexit was a wonderful idea for the majority of our people, but we were not given the information, and a lot of that was because nobody had the information to give us, because it had never been done before. Everybody had these wonderful ideas about new trade agreements and this, that and the other, none of which seem to have materialised yet, and we're not taking advantage of any that I know of, and we've lost that trade and everything that went with it. You know, boats and planes across the channel and Postman Pat. It's all gone. Well, it certainly has to do with plants anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it at that for today. Later today, I'm going to do exactly the same as I did when I got up. Absolutely nothing. I really am going to have a lazy day today. I want to recuperate. Just get everything back in working order and rested and everything. And then tomorrow we'll probably look at doing some repots. And yeah, I think it'll probably be, it might be a couple of getting Cattleya types out of holy clay pots and setting them up either back in a clay pot. I mean, there's one of them I want out of the clay pot because it's got quite a lot of cocoa husk in it, and that is probably starting to go off now. It might not be, because unlike if it was an oncidium that needed to stay moist while it was growing and everything like that, that would have periods where it didn't get watered that often and the media would go dry, you know, wet dry cycle and all that. So it wouldn't go off as quickly as the same media in, say, an oncidium pot, a pot with an oncidium in it or something like that. So, but yeah, there are a few of the holy clay pots. Another reason, it's an obscure reason, but it needs to be thought of. I'm worried about my winter temperatures and how I'm going to maintain them and what the hell it's going to cost. And holy clay pots have a evaporative cooling effect on the roots. So when it's already quite cool and you water a clay pot, it cools the root system down even more. This is just a process that happens with clay as the water evaporates off of it. So that's a reasonable reason to get all of them out of the clay pots, really. But I don't need to do them all at once. I mean, we've done, I think we've done one so far, and we'll get on with two that I really want to get on with, and they're probably in a position where they can be done. Just waiting for new roots, basically, and then we'll have a go at those. But at least one can be done. I'll probably have a go at that tomorrow. And as far as watering out here is concerned, I'm going to do my mounts today, and that's all. That now takes about 10 minutes because there's so few of them. Yeah. Right, and I'm keeping my eye on, these were our, we got the hippie soap out, these were our leaves to watch. Sometimes you don't see the wood for the trees. There are aphids on the blooms. I think these have dropped down off the blooms. But they are a mix, because some of them are actually greenfly, I think. So the door's open and shut all the time. I mean, I can remember one specific time. This large maple out here, I have to lean right inside it to get to the pot to water it. Now when I was using a watering can, that really meant leaning, and I can remember coming in, and the next time I combed my hair, I was combing greenfly out of my hair off of that tree. Well, that can get them in the door. It don't take much, and they can get going pretty quick when they get in a nice comfy position. So it's the hot box. If you look at this leaf here, it's covered in tiny little bugs, and they're all coming down off of these blooms. This spike here. I don't know whether there's any on the Shari baby spike. Don't think so. There just seems to be that spike there. And I can see them on the stem, I can see them on the backs of the blooms, and if I knock the blooms, I can see them falling down. So that's where they are. So I'm not sure they're actually mites. They might be something to do with some form of aphid or whitefly or something like that. So what I'm going to do now, when I put the camera down, is take that plant out onto the stonework out there and spray it with my bug killer, including the blooms. And I take the risk that it might fade the blooms or make them go a bit patchy, but I need those gone basically, and that's a systemic as well, so it will get into the plant and make its way up into the flower stem and everything, and it should deal with the problem. And then I'll keep my eye on the plants that are nearby, but at the moment it really does seem like that an outbreak on that one plant. And everything in the grow room got treated as a consequence. That might have been a bit over the top, but at least it brought back the concept of the hippie soap. I mean, some people had never heard of that expression or what it was all about, and some people revisited it, and it was it was like revisiting a sort of memory, if you know what I mean. So anyway, but this is the offending plant, and it's the flower spike where the stuff is, and it's like they're dropping down onto this plant as well, which means they'll get on that flower spike. So I think we may do both plants. But yeah, I will get that treated. Not with a hippie soap. That'll be that'll get the bug spray. And yeah, I'll see you next time. As I said, sorry to have missed the Sunday chat, but it happens sometimes. You know, as I said, I just take a short break, and you know, I enjoyed it. It makes a change not to have to do videos and stuff. But yeah, we're sort of back to the mundane day-to-day for quite some time now. We've got no events to look forward to, except for the garden party, you know, but there's not much going on through these next few months, so might have to invent something, perhaps go on a field trip or something. But anyway, that's where we are at the moment, and no, I'm not going to do it. I've been asked by a few people to include Tolumnias as part of the species spotlight on my Sunday chat. Well, I've always maintained I'm not talking about plants I haven't got, yeah? But in that case, I did have a lot once, and I did grow them very well round the other place, but they didn't survive round here. And the last few that I had, I gave away, hopefully in time to stop them going down the same road. So I could do a very good species thing, but I wouldn't have any plants to show. So does that defeat the object? If you see what I mean. Because, you know, when you're talking about the species and going over the care and stuff like that, it's nice to have some to look at, isn't it? So it might not be appropriate. Anyway, we will end on having a look upwards at our dendrobium hercoglossum, which is the view where it sort of comes into its own. I don't know how close I'm going to be able to get. Probably not very. But they are lovely little blossoms. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.